Hi everybody and welcome to this video on the parabola. For this video we will be looking at what is the turning point. So here is a diagram of a parabola. The turning point is the point which it changes direction. So if you have a look at this parabola, the first half of the graph is decreasing. It's got a negative slope. And then it kind of gets steeper, and then there's the turning point, and then it then has a positive slope. So the turning point is where it changes from becoming a negative graph to a positive graph, or if you're looking at the other one where it's negative going to positive. Now, the coordinates of the turning point are quite important. I've put P star Q, we'll go over that in a bit, but the X coordinate of the turning point also defines the axis of symmetry, which we have spoken about in the axis of symmetry video. And then the Q value would give us a minimum or maximum value of your parabola. So your graph would never go below a minimum or above a maximum. So let's have a look at the two cases. So we'll have A being positive. So remember, A tells us the shape of the parabola. And if it is positive, then the graph has this shape over here, in which case the turning point is a minimum. So if you look below that point, there's no graph. So the minimum is it has the smallest value, and then it won't have anything smaller than that. When A is negative, then what we have is this downward shaping parabola, and we have a maximum. So again, above that maximum point, the graph does not exist. So how do we find our turning point? So just a reminder that we have three forms of the parabola, and we're going to have a look at how to get the turning point in each one of these forms. So the first form is standard form, and the equation is y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c, and the turning point is calculated. First, we're going to do the x coordinate, and to get the x coordinate, we calculate minus b over 2a, where b is the coefficient of x and a is the coefficient of x squared. To get this corresponding y coordinate of the turning point, we're going to substitute that x coordinate back into the original equation. So we're going to substitute x back. So into the equation. Okay, for the root form, its equation is y is equal to ax minus x1 times x minus x2. To get the x coordinate of the turning point, we use this formula x1 star plus x2 star over 2. Why do we have stars over here? Is to remind us that from the equation to the point, we need to change the sign. Okay, and that's very important. So the stars are telling us to change the sign from the equation. So that's how we get the x coordinate. How do we then get the y coordinate? We then substitute the x coordinate back into the equation again. So pretty much the same second step as the standard form. For the turning point form, I haven't written down the equation, but the equation is y is equal to ax minus p squared plus q. And we then going to get the x and y coordinate. We can read it directly from the equation. The p, we have to change the sign, and the q, we can take it as is. So that is how we get the turning point in each one of the forms. If you are unfamiliar with the forms that we have done, please watch the previous video on the parabola's equation. So let us have a look at examples. Please pause it and attempt it before we go through it together. So here we have an example, and we're going to get the turning point, and we're going to say whether it's a minimum or maximum. So this here is in standard form. Okay, and when it is in standard form, we said we get the x coordinate by saying minus b over 2a. So this here is equal to minus 5 over 2 times 1. So our x coordinate of the turning point is minus 5 over 2. Okay, How do we get the y coordinate? We substitute the x coordinate into every place that we see x in the equation. So this will be y is equal to minus 5 over 2 squared plus 5 times minus 5 over 2, and finally plus 4. So what we have done is we have, and this is very important that you guys make sure that you know how to do this, is to get the y coordinate. If we have the x coordinate, it means then what we have to do is substitute that x coordinate back into the original equation to get the answer. So then this here is minus 9 over 4. Therefore, we have the turning point. It is minus 5 over 2, which is the x coordinate, and minus 9 over 4, which is the y coordinate. Quickly, does this graph have a minimum or a maximum? So to tell whether it's a minimum or maximum, we look at the a value. The a value here is 1, so the a value is 1, and the a value is equal to 1, which is greater than 0, it's positive, which means our graph has this shape, which means it would have a minimum. So this graph has a minimum at that y coordinate, and this part here, x is equal to minus 5 over 2, that's our axis of symmetry. So our turning point tells us quite a bit about our parabola. It tells us what is that axis of symmetry, what line do we fold it on to get it exactly in half, and what is the minimum or maximum value that we have for our parabola. Let's have a look at another example. So for this one here, which form is it in? It is in turning point form. So in turning point form, it's much simpler. We can just read the turning point. So we change the sign of x, so it's positive 2, and our q value is 1, so that is our turning point. Does this graph have a minimum or maximum? So our a is equal to 3, which is positive, so that means it's got this shape and it's got a minimum. So the minimum occurs at 1, and here from the x coordinate, x is equal to 2, that is the axis of symmetry. Let's have a look at another one. So over here we have y is equal to 4x minus 2 times x minus 3. This is in root form. So to get the x coordinate of the turning point, we say x1 star plus x2 star all over 2. So remember, the stars are telling us to change the sign. So this is negative 2, so we're going to change it to positive 2. This one is positive 3, so we're going to change it to negative 3 over 2. So this here is minus 1 over 2. That is the x coordinate. How do we get the y coordinate? So in the place of x, we're going to now put minus a half. So minus half will go there, and minus a half will go there. So this here is equal to 4 times minus 3 over 2 times 3 over 2. So calculating this, we get that the coordinate is 9, negative 9. So then what is our turning point? Our turning point is negative a half and negative 9. Does this have a minimum or a maximum? So we look at our a value. Our a value is equal to 4 and it's positive. So we have this shape, and again, it's got a minimum. Where does the minimum happen? At the y coordinate, and the x coordinate of the turning point tells us our axis of symmetry. Okay, I hope that you have managed to keep up with this video. Please watch the next video where we cover more information on the parabola.